everyone, and welcome to Astrology with Jeffrey Bryan. Today's episode is a deep look at the planet Pluto. Are you ready? Let's get started. All right, here it is, Pluto and the evolution of consciousness. Why is Pluto associated with evolution? Because Pluto is the cosmic fire of desire power of the soul that reconnects us with God. This evolutionary life force is called Kundalini, and Pluto is divine will or action. Within Pluto is the evolutionary life force, which is Fohat. Many people don't know what Fohat is, but Fohat is the divine electricity of spirit within everything in creation and the universe. Basically, Fohat is the electrical impulse that moves consciousness on all levels of creation. So the Kundalini is a cosmic fire. It's not a physical fire. So it's this cosmic fire that exists at the base of our spine. And through meditation and spiritual practice, we can access that. So this is a transformational bridge from the physical world to the spiritual world, and from the spiritual world into the physical world. And as I go on, I'll explain how that process happens when we're born. Key words associated with Pluto are transformation and metamorphosis, magic, fire, wrecking ball, and serpent. So Pluto, it wants to tear down structure and rebuild it. So it's a wrecking ball. Whether it's a psychological structure or a physical or political structure, its design is to tear it down and rebuild it anew. Pluto represents and rules the 8th house of Scorpio. So the 8th house of Scorpio is the house of secrets, what is hidden, the unseen. It's the unconscious aspect of ourselves, and sexuality, death, rebirth, and debt. Pluto rules debt. Pluto is the inner drive that we can be what we came here to be. So it's a transformational planet. So it's about transforming and healing aspects of ourselves into do and be what we came here to be. So it also represents in Scorpio the eagle, angelic, and incredible insights. So the angelic realm. So on a scorpion, on the sign of Scorpio, we have a tail which has the stinger, and then the front of the head is actually the head of an eagle. So that's showing the two sides of what can be of the sign Scorpio, the angelic side or the darker downward desires that it represents. So Pluto works deeply with the development of higher states of consciousness and goes deeply into the subconscious mind. So here we say it rules the siddhis or powers. If you've ever read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, or you've done deep meditation, like a transcendental type meditation, you'll understand how Pluto, or the Kundalini, when it ignites in the body, it raises our consciousness into these higher states, which take us to realms in the subconscious mind, or you could say in the divine mind. So that's why Pluto is also the archetype of the magician, because this is like alchemical process. It is magic. Pluto is the higher octave, and his higher octave. So Pluto represents the principle of transformation. That's what we're doing when we're accessing the Kundalini force within us. We're transforming ourselves to higher states of consciousness. If you look at the body and you take all the planets from Mars to Saturn, we would have the 7 chakras. So just think of the outer planets as these transformative, non-personal to the self planets, which Pluto is the bridge to growing the self into higher states of consciousness, raising your consciousness, moving into states of enlightenment. This is Pluto. So now Mars is the lower octave of Pluto. So, and Pluto is the higher octave. So Mars is will, ambition, and action. So if Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, that makes Pluto divine will or divine action or divine ambition. So as we use Pluto's consciousness to ascend into the world, that divine evolutionary will pushes consciousness from the spiritual world into the physical. When we're in the physical body, it's the agent that takes us in an inner way to the spiritual world. And when we die, it's that evolutionary force that takes us from the body back through into the spiritual world. So since Pluto is the higher octave of Mars action, Pluto has a higher intensity, more intense, of a higher drive and motivation, which is that of invincibility. So Pluto can give us, if we meditate often and do certain kinds of spiritual practice, we can attain this incredible invincibility power. Invincibility is actually a sutra in the Yoga Sutras that we can attain. So more things Pluto rules are magic. Remember, he rules the magician. So magic, alchemy, because he is this chemical transformative process. Also takes like oxygen mixed with Pluto when we're doing meditation. So it's a alchemical process. And quantum change. So what is quantum change? A good example is the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It sits there, and then when it's ready, it wrestles through this turning process, and it's like this, we could say, an ugly caterpillar, and then all of a sudden it blossoms, and as it wrestles out, it transforms, and it's this beautiful butterfly. That's that process of going through Pluto, through psychological change or spiritual change or physical change. We become beautiful, but it's a process. So this is how the Pluto works in connection with our life from the spiritual world to the physical world. So the how as to why Pluto is evolution in an astrology chart. So some people argue Pluto is the soul, and Pluto is definitely evolution and the Kundalini. So Mars, Pluto, 8th house, Scorpio form an inconjunct or crisis situation. So an inconjunction here is this red line. An inconjunction is a 150-degree aspect, and that is like a crisis situation. Now, many people would say, well, a square is a crisis situation. So is an inconjunction. I rate an inconjunction very high because there's no chemistry between the planets at all. So we have where there is a trinity of the houses and planetary rules inserts one's consciousness from the spiritual into the physical world. So, and the ascendant is the moment of your exact birth. So here we have the 12th house ruled by Neptune, and we have the 8th house Scorpio ruled by Mars, Pluto. And then here we have the 4th house of Cancer ruled by the moon. The moon is the soul or the subconscious mind. So in this case, we'll just say the soul, make it easy. So what is the soul? That's your home. And Cancer is the sign of, home and family. Here we have the 8th house of the unconscious with Pluto being evolution. And it's with Fohat, it moves consciousness through the spiritual dimensional realities. As you'll see, these are all water. Water is the spiritual realm. And here we have Pisces ruled by Neptune and also ruled by Jupiter. So I call this the house of the source, or God, or the creator, or whatever. It's this realm that we don't really understand. It can be confusing, but it can also be very freeing for people that want to get out of the bind of being in a physical body. So it can be an uncomfortable position for a lot of people, this house. But if you think about the source being Neptune and Jupiter being the vision, Jupiter rules the third eye. It's this vision. What do you see? So this would be the house of God's vision. This is our home. This is the soul. So God's vision is in a trine aspect with our soul. So we have this plan with our creator God to what we're going to do when we come here, coming from the spiritual world. And Pluto in the unconscious realm is going to drive this into its evolution, its transformation, metamorphosis. Remember, it's alchemy. It's moving us from the spirit world into this physical body, into this physical realm. So it's the change agent that moves consciousness, that moves us from realm to realm and moves us back. So in connection with the creator's intention and our plan, we have the two divine plans, our divine soul's plan and the creator's plan, in connection with the evolutionary life force. We incarnate through this in conjunction, this 150-degree crisis. We're in a crisis situation. We're going from the spiritual world. We're all, we think we're free of the body and free of all these different things, into this where we pick up, our baggage of life or our karma, and we've gathered this, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, here I'm doing this, and boom, the crisis point. You incarnate at your ascendant, and that's what spins your chart. Where you incarnate sets the whole soul's plan for your life and what you came here to do. And so, this presentation is on Pluto, but just to go a little deeper, so the first sign is Aries, and Aries, the generic keyword for Aries is I am. So it's a statement. I am here. I exist. I am in the physical world, and I am a creation of the source of God. Or you could say I am the microcosm of the macrocosm. The two signs are next to each other. The I am is a statement of a truth. So then we would go back. So that's the same thing. We do the trine. So the situation that we are in is that we are spiritual beings in the material world. We just showed that by the trinity of the 4th, 8th, and 12th house, the house and the in conjunction, or the crisis that we are in, we realize we're born, that we are in a new place that we are unfamiliar with. So the way back when we die is the same way. We go back, our soul in our body leaves this body, and it goes back through the Kundalini, or that 8th house of Pluto. It moves the consciousness back to ascend into the spiritual world. So I don't necessarily need to read all this, but also I'll go ahead and read a little bit. The 8th house is the Kundalini. We talked about that. So it lies dormant most of the time. So this force is a lot of times not really activated. It lies dormant. So that's where, coaching people on meditation and how to access that with breathing techniques to draw that energy up the spine so that the person can live at higher levels of consciousness, are how you can evolve this transformative process for people. They can live at higher chakra levels, for instance, based on learning those things. So you want to pay attention to someone's chart. what's going on with Pluto and help, you have to read it in the chart, but see what's going on. I think every person can, chart should be able to say that they can meditate, but that's me. So we just evolved through this transformative process and connect to Jupiter, Neptune, 12th house, the divine mind, universal consciousness, or creative intelligence that some call God source, the transcendent, or the ground of being. So, just again, Pluto is that transformative process that leads us back home to where we came from. So here is a picture of somebody meditating. And this is the cosmos. And this is all the hidden secrets. We could say, that's all the Siddhi powers in this diagram or geometric pattern. And so here we have the Kundalini lying at the base of the spine. This would be Pluto. It's non-active. It's not a personal planet. These planets, the first chakra, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, are personal planets. So they have to do with evolving you and your consciousness. These other planets are involved in it, evolving you to greater heights of evolution of your consciousness. And Pluto is the activating agent. So as Pluto activates, it draws up the spine through the chakras. And as the energy moves up, it moves up and out of the head. And you move into you access areas of the mind and of spiritual realms that are not attainable without this Plutonian energy. So if you'd like to book a personal astrology reading with me, you can visit astrologywithjeffreybryan.com. And if you like my video and other videos, please like, share, and subscribe, and click the notification bell for any future videos I have. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.